Broadcasting live.
Listen live online 24/7.
24/7. Around the world.
Right here. Right now.
It's 300 Radio.
And you know this, man.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Sky Free Morning Show. I am your gracious host himself, L. Sat. You see the name on the screen. All right, guys, on today's episode, it is Friday, y'all. I didn't do a show yesterday. I know I said I was going to do it. But like I always tell people, I'm an emotional podcaster. So if I'm not in the mood, you're not going to get a show. But always remember, you can always watch the playback. You can watch a lot of the content right on 300radio.com. It streams pretty much every day. Little housekeeping. If you aren't following 300radio.com, like I said, you should be doing so. If you don't want to follow there and you spend all your time on YouTube, feel free to go to 300 Radio and the number 1 into your search box on YouTube, and it'll pull up our channel. You can watch all the playbacks of the full show, some of the shorts, and then some other content as well. We have a lot of old stuff on there. On today's show, guys, I'm not going to hold you up too long, but today we're going to go in a different direction. I have my co-host with me in a little bit, but I'm going to get her called up on the Chill Report in a few minutes. But I wanted to talk to the family before I get started. Like I said, a couple of housekeeping things I want to go over. Starting next week, hopefully on Monday, we're going to be streaming live on all platforms simultaneously, like we've been promising for like the last 2 months. I think we've gotten everything out of the way. What I've been doing up until now, we've been doing a lot of the streaming on the website solely by itself, then a little bit of Instagram. Instagram ain't shit. Let me go and say that about y'all, right? Instagram gets to a point. Have y'all noticed that when you're doing something work related, with Instagram, it does not want to show your content to people. But turn around and let there be some content that's about some bullshit. Like if I'm just posting a picture, random car, I get hundreds of views in my story. But for some odd reason, if I'm doing 300 radio business, they'll show it to a handful of people in my story. So Instagram, you ain't shit. Facebook, you ain't shit. I know you're the same company, but I digress. YouTube does pretty well. But with that being said, like I said today, guys, we're not going to be political all day long. I'm going to make sure that we don't get political. We're going to play a couple of videos. We're going to get up with Miss Lovey. We're going to talk relationship talks today. Another thing I've noticed is that on my platform that I have been, man, my shirt looks tight as hell on camera. Another thing that I've been wanting to do that I haven't been doing is I told everybody, I'm going to get away from just being a straight political platform because that's not what this is about. This is I cover everything that happens to Black American society platform. And it's not always political. We do have some good things going on. One of the classic example, if you've been living under a rock lately, you probably haven't caught wind of all of the new line dances that we've been doing. Man, Black folks are having a good time, enjoying themselves, and putting together some more amazing stuff that people gonna steal down the road. It's been amazing. I watched this little girl she can't be no more about 3 or 4. But don't tell me don't tell me these children do not know or could do more than what we're doing for them. This girl is literally 3 or 4 years old and she has memorized the entire line dance. That is amazing to watch. And it's just beautiful to see. So I want people to know that this platform will lean towards fun stuff as well. Today, like I said, I'm going to dive into more to relationship conversation. We're not going to do the heavy political conversation today. But one topic I did want to cover before we do not get into it, and it's kind of lighthearted. It's really, really lighthearted. Let me put it on the screen. It's really, really lighthearted, but I caught this the other day. Robert F. Kennedy claims that fluoride in the water is making kids stupider, which is a very funny word to use, but I totally agree with him. So if you don't understand why he said that, let me tell you, and then we're going to play some videos and get the day started. This is the only politicalness, hopefully, the day that I do. Fluoride, they told you as a child, was good for to make strong teeth and things like that. That's the first bullshit. That's bullshit, guys. They have no desire, They have no need to put fluoride into your water supply. And every city that I know of in America has fluoride in it. So fluoride does not make your teeth stronger. It actually makes them weaker. That's one. Two, also fluoride makes you docile and makes you kind of complacent. Makes sure where your energy levels drops and makes the way you just lose desire to fight. So it's not ironic it's in all our water supply, because whether you realize it or not, you're losing your fortitude, your desire to get up and want to make something from yourself, solely if you're drinking just the water that comes out your faucet. Even if you're not drinking it, if you're putting it in your shower, you're still absorbing this fluoride. Fluoride is not good for the human body. So don't let them fool you into believing it. In my opinion, this is just my own personal conjecture. If anyone knows me, I'm very big on quality water. It's God's nectar, y'all. It's the lifeblood of everything. So make sure that you're getting proper spring water. And the reason why I always tell people go back and forth whether you should drink purified or spring or all this other stuff. Spring, let's make it more common sense based. We're not even going to get into the technical parts of it. Remember, anything that comes from the earth, the way that it comes from the earth, is always going to be best suited for you because it has everything already in it. So when you're drinking spring water, you're getting all the minerals and things that are coming along with that water right at the source. And if the company that is bottling it and giving it to you, if they're doing their due diligence and if they're doing it in the proper manner, you're getting a really good product. Now, if you're getting purified water, they're a lot of times they're taking all of the vitamins and minerals out of the water. They're just purifying that city water that you got. But in that city water, you still get fluoride. They don't filter that out a lot of times. You can still get a lot of heavy metals in that. They don't filter those out a lot of times. But I always tell you, let me keep going. Distilled water, same thing. Distilled water just takes all the nutrients out of the water. When you're drinking distilled water is literally just water. It has no like health values to it. Now, the only good side to it, and I always recommend people drink it if you're coming off eating poorly. Because for some reason, the human body responds very well to distilled water for flushing out your system. So I would recommend only distilled if you're on like a good fast or something like that. And that's only for a day. And then it's right back to the spring water. But lastly, if you're drinking something like drinking water, which the name, I get it, sounds like it's for that. That is the worst shit on the planet. So let me give you a bit of knowledge and information, and then we'll move on and we'll go to our first commercial break. Remember this, on the pH scale, because this is where water comes into play. On the pH scale, you want your water to be not even alkaline, but you want it to be neutral. Neutral on the pH scale is 7.356. The closest water that I've seen on the shelf is core water. There's a 7.4. So essentially it is neutral when you want to drink it. If anything is over 8 or 9.5 when it comes to alkalinity of water, what you're drinking is a mechanical alkalinity of the water, which is going to cause it to be damn near bleach water. So it's not any good to be drinking that high. Alkalinity isn't supposed to be 13. Let me just say that. And if you're anything below that 7.356, you are acidic, and that has no health value. I will tell you, if you get your water out the gas station, 9 times out of 10, it is trash water. Do not drink it. Get you a healthy, good water supply. And lastly, if you cannot or if you do not know how to alkaline water naturally, go find a key lime. Not a Persian lime, but a key lime. The reason why I want you to get key limes is because key lime still has the seeds in them. Get a key lime, cut it in half, squeeze that into about a gallon of spring water. Drop that half a key lime in the water, let it settle in there for about 15 minutes, and then you will have alkaline water. Have at it. That is your little knowledge nugget of the day. I'm going to move on. We're going to play a video. Then we're going to get the chill report going. It's Friday, y'all. Good morning. See you guys in a minute.
Scoob.
And we've got new school.
Always plays the new music first right here.
It's 300 Radio.
It's time for the Chill Report.
It's about to go down.
Oh my goodness. This is my favorite part of the show. It's called the Chill Report. Oh, I love it. But the guy who gives the news, they hate to give the news.
You for once in your life, just do the fucking news. All right? No. I'm gonna do the fucking news. No, here is the fucking news.
All right. Let's get this music pop back on here. Let's get Miss Lovey on the screen. That's what I'm trying to do. Let's get her Miss Lovey on the screen. Let's get her on. Where's she at right here? I don't think I've been put her on this screen. It is what it is. We'll pull up. So let's get her called up real fast and let's get everything popping. Hold on a second. Let me cut this music down just a smidge.
Hello.
Oh God, you sound. Oh, are you tired? Yeah.
Very, very much so.
You sound like it too. It's all in your voice though. Well, I ain't gonna hold you up
I
too long.
sounded chipper.
You said hello. How was it? No, you do not sound chipper. On the other hand, sound very upbeat. And today I'm more upbeat than I was on last show because I was like you on the last one. I did not have any energy, but we got through it. So that's the case. Well, how are you doing? Other than that,
Pretty good. How about yourself?
we're gonna get through it. Well, today, guys, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Right now we have 570 people in the queue listening. And today we're gonna keep it light. We're not gonna go political, Miss Levitt. We're not gonna do it today. I told people that on this platform I won't gonna do it every day. We're gonna have a little balance. So you remember the last time you say good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember we was talking the other day. I have a few questions. The questions have grown that people have sent me since then, but I pulled off 4, and hopefully the two of us can get through the 4 in a very timely fashion. But you can get kind of long-winded, so I'm just gonna go and let's say that out the gate, okay?
All right.
But so let me ask you on your opinion. Do you have it in you first? Do you have it? Because I can tell you, let me see which one I want to cover first. Hold on, Levin. Say 2 seconds. I'm gonna read the question. I'm coming right back. So just stay there, all right? Hold on.
Okay.
We've got old school.
Old Scoob.
And we've got new school.
Always plays the new music first right here.
It's 300 Radio.
Okay, we're back. All right, my shit wasn't queued up, so I want to make sure I got it queued up. All right, so let's start off very simplistic. We're gonna take a simple one to start. And the first question I got was, in your opinion, talking about me, but I'm gonna share it with you. In your opinion, Ms. Levy, do you think that couples should merge their finances together or keep them separate? Because I know we're gonna probably be on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to this.
I think they should do both.
Elaborate. Go deeper.
I think that, well, I'll just tell you how me and my husband work. And so we basically have a joint account where we put our money in and we pay all of our bills, all of our household stuff, miscellaneous stuff for the household, et cetera. In this account, we set up a budget. We determine how much money needs to go into that account. And then we determine what's left over. And we divide that money and we split that money that's left over for the month. And whatever split he gets is his money that he puts it in his own personal checking account. And what I get, I put in my own personal checking account. And I don't ask him what he does with his money. That's his money to do what he wants to do. And he don't ask me what I'm doing with my money because the joint account is taking care of all of our household stuff. So it's kind of like having the cake and eat it too. we combine our money to take care of what we need to take care of for our household. And at the same time, we have our own personal money that we do what we want to do with.
And you know, I don't have any issues with that. I think that, you know, you like it, I love it. I don't have any issue with that. I guess the only thing for me, and if I had to play devil's advocate in that moment, the only thing that I'd say in there that I probably would say, I would ask a question. I wouldn't even make a statement. I would ask a question. Do you think that you guys would have been able to save even more money if you guys basically kept all the money together? Or do you, what I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that by, after you pay all your bills and then y'all basically have your separate accounts, do you think that, like in that, like I always know generally in couples, somebody's always going to be better with money than the other person, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I found is that, you know, but in this world we're living in, you know, savings are very important. So do you think that by keeping it separate, would that hinder your savings, basically, because one may be just been doing willy-nilly with the money while the other person is saving? And if it was all in one account, I guess you would be privy at all times to know what was in and out your bank account. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But so our savings is a bill. Okay. So when we sat down and did our budget,
I like the way you said
savings was included in the bill. So there's a certain amount of money that goes into our joint account that is for savings. So our joint account is never depleted at the end of the month. We just add on and we add on and we add on. And so if, let's say, something comes up where a car breaks down, you know, we know we have a surplus in our checking account because it's our checking and our saving per se. And then we cover whatever bill may pop out, a car broke down or something or other.
That's smart.
And so that's taken care of in our joint account anyway. Now, yes, of course, there are times where I look at my husband and be like, thinking to myself, what the heck is you doing with your money? And then I know he probably does the same for me, right. But to me, it's a perfect blend because we're taking care of our household together. But at the same time, we're giving ourselves a level of independence where I'm not asking him for money. He's not asking me for money. And we have the freedom to do what we want. Now, what they do with that money, you know, because you got to have balance.
I agree.
You got to be able to pay the bills. You got to be able to save, but you also need to enjoy the fruits of your labor as well, without having somebody standing over your back.
Well, I guess the only pushback I would give to anybody, because this question is really simplistic to me. And like I said, mine would work a little different than yours, but I totally get where you're coming from. I have no issues with it. So we're actually going to agree on something for once. That's one.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? The only pushback I say to anybody who would have a problem with merging your finances, and because the conjecture I always hear when people say the reason why they don't is because, you know, they'll say, that's my money, that's your money. Well, the thing that makes no sense to me is that when the lights get cut off at home, I don't think they cut off your side of the house. They cut off all the house. That's one.
Now, see, what you're talking about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
What you're talking about, which does not work for me, is, okay, I'm paying the mortgage and you're paying the this and the light bill and the water bill, and then you gotta hope and pray that your spouse ain't out here, you know, spending bill money on getting their hair done, or bill money at the bar watching the game. You know, that leaves too many variables for things to go wrong.
And I agree. And I always say this too. The thing that trips me out more than anything else about people like this, and we can move on, is people who hide or at least will refuse to be open and honest about their money. Because the pushback you always get from people like that is that I don't trust this person with the money. Well, you trust them to put your mouth on their privates, but you don't trust their wallet. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It does to me. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you got to know your person. Your person could be highly skilled in one area and very poor in another area.
I agree.
Just with the example you just gave. You could have a partner who throws down in the bedroom, but is horrible with money.
Okay, so I get what you're saying, but I think you missed my point. So this is the point I'm making. I'm glad you said this. Let me say it again. Based on all that I'm saying, I'm not arguing with that at all. My only thing I'm saying, I don't understand people who refuse to share their money with their spouses, but will put their private parts in each other's mouths. This is my thing. It's because my conjecture is that is way more invasive. A lot can happen. You trust me enough to do that, but you don't trust me enough with your money. That's a problem right there in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem.
Well, for sure. That sounds like it sounds like a financial mistrust. Now there are different when you're in especially there are people who are together that live together.
Mm-hmm.
They run a household that aren't married. So I'm talking about the people like that and the people that are married. And financial betrayal is a thing.
I agree.
And
but so is cheating. That's a thing as well. I'm just speaking to the fact of people literally will easily put their mouths on people's pee-pees and poo-poos, but they refuse to share their bank accounts with people. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to share their money, but they'll share their body like it ain't shit. My body's my temple. So it's not going to be something you're going to get willy-nilly. I probably won't share my bank account with you faster than I would my body. And that may be just me.
I see what you're saying, but I think you're comparing apples and oranges, though. Because
how so?
If you know the spouse that you're with is a faithful person,
mm-hmm.
and you know and you trust them in a monogamous way,
mm-hmm.
then yeah, I'll trust you with putting my PP or however you said it,
PP and poo-poos, PP and
all that. But if I know that you have shown in the past that you are not financially responsible, or you have shown that you can't be trusted with finances, if one is different than the other. You've proven yourself in one avenue, don't mean that means that you qualified to be trusted with everything else in life.
But see, this is my only pushback to that. But see, people, and not pushback, but I would say this, but people are quick to leave when a person when they give their body away to someone else, or they're doing something underhanded with their bodies, but will stay with people who are being underhanded when it comes to their finances. See, I get your point. If you trust me physically, you're going to probably give me your body, you're going to put your poo-poo and your pee-pee in your mouth, all this stuff is going to happen. But generally, when you stop being able to trust a person with your poo-poo or your pee-pee, you generally leave that situation. But I've watched people stay together for decades and have financial mistrust of each other. And to me, I think one is just as egregious as the other. Why does one make you leave, but the other one you'll stay for? That makes no sense to me.
I think, I'm gonna give you pushback with that. Two things. One, I think that a lot of people will say if they've been, if their trust has been broken in a monogamous way. Mm-hmm. I don't think but what I also believe is some people think that there are certain valid reasons to leave a relationship and other reasons are not valid. Like, okay, if I beat on you, I can understand, you leave. Or if you beat my child, I can understand you leave. Or if you cheat on me, but good Lord, I don't know, I can't trust that you're going to pay all the bills and make sure we're financially situated. So, but that's not a qualified reason to step away. I personally think it is.
I get it.
I personally think it is.
Well, that pushes me in a different direction. This is not a question on the board, but really quick, and let's see, I have a question. I want to know your point of view because I know you may have some insight into this. I was having a conversation with a lady recently that has a lot of issues with her mother. Her mother's competing basically with her. Any accolades the young lady gets, her mother doesn't like it. Her mother basically treats her funny style, the whole nine. But out of all of her mother's children, she's the most successful of them all. But you would think she was the worst one because of the way she gets treated. In your opinion, why do you think, and I don't know if this has been in other generations, but I see this a lot in today's generation. Why do you think parents, I won't just say mothers, why do you think parents sometimes are having issues with their children, especially the ones that are being successful? That seems ass backwards to me.
Well, I'm going to stick with the mother aspect, because we're talking about like gender, and unfortunately, there is this thing with women that there's this competitive spirit
That's crazy.
with women.
That's crazy.
And unfortunately, it doesn't just end with sisters or co-workers or classmates. Sometimes it bleeds into their own daughters.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
And unfortunately, you know, they can't separate the fact that this is just the fact alone that if my child is successful, that means I was a successful parent. A lot of women, and I can only speak for our community, especially I feel like a lot of Black women feel like they're in competition with their daughters.
I see it all the time. And what's shocking to me, that's so new. I did not know this, say, 10 years ago. And I do see this a lot. I didn't want to make it specific about women because I never want people to think that I'm dogging women. But I can definitively say
I've seen it in women.
I've seen it a lot.
I don't see it a lot in men.
I don't either.
see it a lot in men, but I see it in women.
And it doesn't make sense because what it sounds like to me, and just using my common sense, it sounds like to me the mothers that act this way have some type of feeling about themselves and the accomplishments they did themselves.
Absolutely.
And it feels like they're projecting out to their children. But it almost feels like that. You know how they'll say that in the Black community we have a crab in the barrel mentality? I don't think so. I think generally when a person supports the community, big ups the community, and talks positive about the community, we generally love that person back. It's the person who doesn't support the community, the one that wants to chastise the community, is the one that gets a lot of pushback. But for some odd reason, you would think with mothers, they would be the same way. They would support their daughters out the gate, but it's like they're literally saying to themselves, since I was successful, I'm going to pull you down, a crab in a barrel, back to where I'm at. That way I can feel better about myself. That's what it feels like as you watch it from the outside.
I don't think that mothers per se try to pull their daughters back down. I just don't think that they can genuinely be happy for their success.
That's crazy to me. But you birthed the child. When I had my daughters, when I had them, all that I wanted them to be, I'll be a little personal. My children do not do the shit that I always want them to do, right? They will literally, now, generally they have done pretty much the things that I've asked of them, but when I tell you they're adults now, they do what the fuck they want, and it frustrates the fuck out of me. But it's not the positive things. I want them to be more successful than me. That's the plan. But it feels like in today's world, due to the fact of, especially it's things like the generation right before us, and is that the boomers? I can't remember. But it feels like if I can't remember. If the boomer generation is the one right before this one, it feels like that one is the one that if they didn't do better than, if they didn't become successful, they don't want their children to be successful. And I don't know why that
one.
went.
I think a part of that is too, Lamar, and we kind of touched on this a little bit in a previous conversation. Past decades, the women in our community were not afforded the opportunities that the people in our generation and below have been afforded. And
how so? Give me an example of what you mean.
Well, again, like I'm gonna tell you, like straight up, it wasn't until 1974 that women could even purchase a house or open a checking account. So, and then we were discussing job opportunities and how it's kind of flipped. Like for decades, Black men had more job opportunities than Black women, and now it's done flipped this on its head, and now more Black women have more job opportunities and income than that's afforded to Black men. And so
I agree.
Black women are now have more avenues to be more successful in life than their older counterparts.
But see, I think that, not to cut you off, but I think too, without, and I'm not pushing back. I think that everything you said is happening. I think that women are getting afforded more opportunities. But I also think that comes into play. Where does your value system lie, and who controls it? Meaning, if you getting a job, you being successful on your own, if you being able to afford a career for yourself, if those are where your value systems lie, then that's true. I think a lot of women before the 1960s, see, people got to understand this, before the 1960s, women as a whole didn't work because we was living basically off a one-parent income. And once they switched us over to a two-parent income and y'all had to go to work, I get it, but it's just to me, where does your value system lie? Because if your value system isn't in pushing the family lineage forward, isn't nurturing your children, isn't taking care of home, things like that. If that's not your value system, yeah, then you are feeling more successful now. But I think that some women back in the day, well, let me ask you this. Are you saying that women back in the day hated that part in their lives and they didn't see it as being successful and that was just all that they could do? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is back in the day, that's all that they were afforded. I'm pretty sure women were extremely proud of being good wives and good mothers. Mm-hmm. But women of today now can be wives and mothers. And what I think a lot of men tend to not realize is women want, like, men can be husbands and then they can be fathers, and they can also pursue things they want to do in their life to bring them purpose, to bring them joy individually. Mm-hmm. And that has not always been afforded to the women. And now women have an opportunity to still have babies, still be wives, and have something of their own that was not afforded to the women.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's possible for either a male or a female to be a good mother or father if your career dominates your life, though. That's just my personal opinion.
It doesn't have to dominate it. It can be a part of your life. It doesn't have to dominate it.
Well, most people careers dominate.
To have something.
Well, I was gonna say most people careers dominate their lives because remember, most people's jobs dominate their lives. See, they demand so much of our.
So what you're saying then is then most men are poor fathers and poor husbands.
I think this is what I think. I think that when you prioritize your career, like I'll give you an example. If you're an entertainer and you're a parent, you're a horrible parent. 9 times out of 10, because you're never home. You have to put time, effort, and energy into being a parent. You can't do that if I'm always gone. We like to take, and I use entertainers a lot of times because those are the ones that don't come home every day. Now, if you pull your hours and you come home every day and you have downtime, yes, you could be a great parent and still have a career. I just don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible to have and that's not, a lot of times it's not a career. A career a lot of time is going to dominate your time. It's so much into it. And I think that the world has put us into a career-driven mindset because we're so money-driven to where the simplistic things in your life always fall suit. It's not ironic that in our community that like 70% of children in our community have some sort of sexual trauma nowadays. And the reason why I believe that is so, it is because they are always left at home alone so much. Parents are always gone. They have to work so much. And so children are getting into things. I think that's why I don't think you can be successful and have a career, and be successful at parenting and career at the same time. I don't think it's possible.
So, but you didn't answer my question. So what you're saying is if a man has a career, it's okay for him to be a poor father and a poor husband.
No, I think
because the woman's going to be there.
No.
None
parent. No, none of that. This is what I'm saying. If you have, like a class example, whether it's the mother or the father, because this is not based upon your sexual organ, mother, father, whoever's making the bulk of the money. The reason why I feel if you're going to have a family, you have to have a spouse is because there's a balance that will be there. So,
I agree.
So, like class example, if I just use an example, the kids are left to their own devices at home, they get into a lot of trouble. That's where the mother used to be at home. The mother's the first teacher of the child. And so if you remove that, see, the dad a lot of times instilled the discipline, instills the hard work, the toughness when it comes to stuff like I think it's a balance to it.
How's he doing that if he's engrossed in his career?
But see, that's what I'm saying. But now imagine if he's in his career, all the nurturing parts being taken care of by the mother. Now he can come in and discipline when his time. But now imagine he has no wife. He has to nurture. He has to do all those things. He can't do all that because he is gone so much. I think that
that's what me off. You changed it to now we're talking about single parent.
No, well, that's what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that I was going to say that all together in totality. So let me say it so that it's not confused. I do not think a person who is career driven, and I'll say it all together, you're right. To whoever's not career driven, you cannot be career driven and be a single parent and think you can be successful, because you can't be a successful single parent without having a career. Because I don't think you can have one parent in a child's life and that child's going to actually be the complete best version of themselves. Can they be a productive citizen? Yes, but I don't think that you can produce the best version of you if you are at work all day long and there's no balance in the household, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does, but let me ask you a question because I don't want to be misconstruing what you're saying.
Right.
It felt like you were going on a route where you feel like a mother or a woman cannot be a successful wife and a successful mother if she has a career, because if you have a career, your home life will suffer as a female.
Well, I'll tell you why, and I kind of do feel that way, but I'll tell you why it's a difference. And this is the slight difference than why I say it. It is only because of the natural state of both of us. We always will agree the mother's nurturing. Like I hear mothers say this all the time. A mother will say about a woman who didn't take care of her child, I don't know how that woman didn't love her child even from the moment she was in her belly because we're nurturing as being. I hear this all the time about women. You don't always hear that with men. You don't always hear that a man is required to be nurturing, but we always require that a man needs to be disciplined. He needs to teach his child self-control. He needs to teach his male. It's certain aspects that you get from a man. I do believe in certain roles when it comes to certain personality types. So when you put the woman into the workforce and there's no one there to nurture your child, so now we're going to get it. That child's going to grow up without lack of nurturing. That means that when he becomes an adult, he or she's going to lack that same thing when they get with someone. So we're creating traumas. Go ahead.
But what you said was all the things that the man is supposed to provide.
So now I was going to say, you didn't let me get to the end. Okay. So to get to the end.
Go ahead.
So classic example. Okay. So switch roles. I'm also not a fan of the man being at home and the wife having a career. Because what's going to end up happening in the process of this, and this is why I'm saying it has to have a certain balance to it. If the man's at home taking care and the nurturing of the child, it's teaching the child that this is what the world's going to look like, and that's not the true statement of what the world's going to look like. So I think that when a woman goes out, she becomes the masculine version of it. It's going to confuse the child. Because, like, take a young lady. I use it as an example. Take a young lady. A young lady, most of the time by nature, is going to want a protector, a provider, the whole nine. We hear it all the time. Well, if a man's the one at home and he's becoming the nurturer of the house, he's not going to instill in that child 9 times out of 10 that he's the provider, he's the protector, he's going to do that thing. It's going to look like it's the woman's job. Can I tell you my personal story and I'm going to tell you why I feel this way? It's going to be real quick. What? All right, real quick. My knee baby, one day, this was maybe 18, 19 years ago. I was not working at the time. And this was maybe out of work. I was out of work maybe 6 months at the time. So I was doing all of the cooking at the house. I wasn't doing it, and I was doing all of the women jobs at the time, right? So she said to me one day randomly, Dad, what's for dinner? And I was like, I don't know, ask your mother. And she was like, mamas don't cook. She's like, daddies cook. And I was like, what the fuck that mean? And she was like, no, daddies cook, clean, and do all this, so mamas go to work. So instantly right there, me and her now having an argument. I'm in her face. I'm giving her attitude because I'm feeling some type of way of what she just said about me. Okay? So I knew instantly then, this is not why did I feel some type of way about it? She was correct, but I felt some type of way because that's not the way I want to be perceived or the way I want her to perceive me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what I'm saying is this. I think that the reason why, now, can a child be a productive person in this world? Yes. But again, if one road going to a destination is clean and clear and another one is rocky with pitfalls and holes in it, I would not tell my child to get on that road. I would tell them to get on the easy road to get there. So that's all I'm just saying. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the rule will be 9 times out of 10, the parents, if the mom and the dad do their roles the proper way, the child will be more balanced. That's all I'm saying.
Well, but this is what I'm saying to you, though. You gave 2 examples. One where the father worked and the mother stayed at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the proper way in order to develop productive children.
Right.
And then you gave the example of the father staying home and the mother working, and how that would be confusing to the child because it's not the traditional roles or the most instinctive roles that men and women play. And it's not,
and before you say that, it's not even really so much the instinctively, it's really what they're going to have to run into. So when they get out into the world, so take it as a girl, when she gets out into the world, if she sees and views the world that way, when she gets with a guy, she's going to struggle having a relationship with a man, especially a man who thinks the traditional way. So that's what all I'm just saying.
But there's a third avenue, and that's what I'm struggling with this conversation. And it's the fact that there can be a husband that works, a wife that works,
Mhm.
and then they come home and they jointly take care of their children, and they instill the father instills what he's supposed to instill, and the mother instills what she's supposed to instill. I don't think a mother working automatically disqualifies her
It's
to be a
time.
good mother or a nurturing mother to her children.
It's time.
Because she wants something of her own.
It's time. And this is my own thing. It's time. And when I say this, of her own. Even though, see, this is how I look at it, because it's all about time. See, and then too, I'll ask this question. By you working and doing those things and all the time, can you nurture the same way you could if you wasn't working?
Yeah.
You can give the same amount of energy and time and effort. You could be there for all the PTA meetings. You could be there for all the times that she's sick and you can sit her at home and you can do it. You can be there for the first 2 or 3 years of her life where she don't. That's the part of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the day to
But the
day.
father can't either. But what I'm saying to you is the father
He doesn't.
can't either.
He's never been the guy who. I started. The mother is the child's first teacher. He's the first teacher, nurturer, the whole nine. The father is the guy.
But you also call the father the disciplinarian.
Yes.
How is the father going to be disciplining the child?
The same way
if the
you.
father's out working?
The same way we've always got it. When the daddy got home, the mama told him what he had to discipline him about. You don't
And
discipline
so
all
why
day.
can't the mother nurture the child when she gets home and do her duty?
Because my whole thing is like this. Remember this, and this is not my words. This is going to be the actual system of wise words. The reason why women went to work. If you're at work, when your child goes into daycare, after you've been out for 2 weeks, and now that child goes to daycare every day, and that child has to spend 6-7 hours with other people's kids, other people's parents, the whole nine, versus their own mother all day long, the mother can't give the child everything that it wants to do all day long, and it's going to get influence more from outside sources because you can't be there all day long. You do know that when you're gone, when your child is out of your presence, it's getting influenced by every aspect of life. When you sit your child down in front of the TV all day long, it's influenced. I'll give you an example for myself. Me, I can regurgitate damn near every TV show from the 80s and 90s that I watch. You want to know why? Because the TV raised me. Okay? And that means that anything that I saw on TV helped influence the way that I thought and moved in this world. It's called propaganda. It's called programming. So, but when a mother or a parent is at home 24/7, or at least more than that, they have a chance to counteract that. The whole system itself said that. They said the reason why we wanted the mother to go to work was because we'll get their child faster. We'll control their child faster, and we'll get another set of income out of that woman, when normally we only have one. See, it was all about money. It was all about taking your child out of it. It's the reason why they started the school system. It wasn't to teach you. It was to control you. All this it's been documented.
Okay, now you explain to me how that's going to work in today's society.
We don't. We have a two-parent society. We're forcing it, and that's why we're having so many issues. That is why we have such a high divorce rate. That is why we have males and females at each other's throats 24 hours a day. All this is the effects of not being able to have a one-parent, normal, traditional household. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh no, I totally disagree with that. I
figured you would. I figured that's why I asked the question. I figured you would.
that might be a male perspective, but let me tell you something. Most issues that married women or women who have a mate with children, their biggest issue has nothing to do with the fact that they got to go work. That is not the biggest issue that they struggle with within a marriage. That is totally not the biggest issue. The problem is that the way you're setting this up is the man continues on with his life the same way he did before he got married and before he had children. Okay?
No, nothing of what I said. I'm not going to stop you, but I don't know how you got that out of what I just said, but go ahead.
I'll explain it to you.
Go ahead.
In your scenario, the woman is legit. Her whole life is to be a mother and a spouse, and that's it. Whereas
I didn't know. No. That's projection. The last part. I never said that's it. I just said you asked me a specific question. I answered that specific question. I'm not telling you whether a woman should be able to do more with her life. I'm not saying that. I never said that.
Okay, it kind of sounds like.
Well,
that.
I'll say the
So-
reason why I said I
so-
never said that because I never even told you because like even with the guy because you make it sound like I'm saying the woman shouldn't be able to get out and do that. What in that man's life? Because see this, if you want to bring up the man has to do this. The man's now new responsibility in this relationship with this woman and these children is this: he is the provider and the protector. That means. Literally, he can't go off and do what he wants to do. That means he can't go on vacations when he feel like it. That don't mean he can put money aside when he wants to hide it. I didn't say none of this. I think that because
How is that not the case?
because this is what I said. Because even down to the finances, I never really gave you my own opinion. My own opinion of finances, all finances should be joint finances. All finances should be privy to everybody have access to it 24 hours a day. Because we live together. I put my pee-pee in your poo-poo. We are all together. There's no need for my money to be separate from yours. Because if I don't have any money, you don't have any money. If you don't have any money, I have no money. I don't like this whole.
That is crazy talk, sir.
It's crazy. But wait a minute. I'm the non-religious person here. And the non-religious person says that to me is making us equally yoked. We are one. How are we one if you got separate from me? I'm not one with you then. We're two.
Because no,
Yes.
I disagree.
If we're sharing everything, how are we not one?
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Let's say that during that time period, where you weren't working, right? Now, I don't know if you even stated why you weren't. Let's say you got laid off.
Because no, I was a bum. I was being a bum. I'll tell you the truth. Go ahead.
Okay, but for my analogy, you were laid off. Okay.
Okay, let's use your analogy. Okay, I wasn't laid off, but let's go with it.
I know, but I'm using mine. Okay, so you're laid off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your wife is the sole provider for your household.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say y'all been together prior to you getting laid off. Y'all been together for 5 years, and y'all were tag teaming everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you think that your wife, who goes out and is the provider, either one or two things gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
One, you gonna have to ask for money. Baby, give me some money.
Why am I asking if it's
you're
joint?
gonna
See,
feel
that's
the need.
But see, there you go again. There you go. Because what I said, if the money's all there in one joint account, I'm not asking for shit. It's our money. As a man, when I make money, I would not tell my woman, this is my money, you got to ask me for it. That's not how we roll. I won't roll like that. That's not how we roll.
What if she's at home, she doesn't work, and you work. I mean, you work your ass off.
Okay.
And she has decided, I want to go have a self-care day, and I'm going to go stay at the W and get a spa day and go out to the fancy restaurant, just me. And she made that decision, and she went in that account, and she took that money out.
Okay.
And you have no say so whatsoever.
No,
You
I
gotta
don't.
sit there and eat it.
I have no. If there's money for her to go have tripped at the W and to do all this stuff, why am I telling her no to something?
But who's to say you do? Who's to say?
No, well, okay,
you wanna
no,
put
but
money to the
that's
side?
that's different. But that's different because it doesn't matter who's working. If one parent is being reckless with the money, the other one's gonna always have something to say about it. That's not a male-female thing.
But we're gonna live in reality.
That's where I'm at.
What's the reality that everybody who is a couple is going to spend money the correct way every month for the rest of their lives? It's not going to happen.
But
That's not reality.
what I'm saying to you is this. This is what I'm saying to you is this. I think you're hung up on the fact of you thinking you're going to have to ask your spouse for something. See, I don't live in that space because see, this is my thing. I know you don't. I'm gonna tell you why you don't. This is why I'm gonna tell you why you don't.
You're gonna have a disagreement.
Yes.
You listen to my scenario. You got to answer my question.
Okay,
you got to answer my question.
Go ahead, answer your question.
In that scenario, she said, "You know what? The light bill can be late. We can pay that next month." And she decided she's gonna take that money and gonna do what she want to do with that. You do not approve of that. But in your scenario, she has the free will to go do that.
This is what I'm telling.
She
No,
can go
she-
into the account and get whatever she wants
No.
whenever she wants.
This is the difference between me and a person who thinks that way. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is God untruth, and I put this on everything I love. If I'm with a spouse who will put our family in jeopardy to the point so she can go have a self-care day, then this is a woman that I'm not going to be with. So what I'm saying to you is that I understand everything that you're saying. I understand all those things. Reality says is this: if I'm staying with a selfish person who will put me, my family, even our children in harm's way, this is not my woman, and it's not going to be my woman. So I get your scenario, and I'm telling to your scenario won't be my situation because I'm not dealing with the woman. And if a woman tells me,
see, that's not reality either. In the same scenario, let's say it's a 10-year marriage, and because she on this particular time, she decides to be selfish because people are human. People mess up. People make mistakes. People do stuff that's not conducive to, their what's best for them in their household.
okay,
You can't tell me that off of a mess up that you just go up and decide to
it's not that one situation.
Nope.
No, it's not the one situation. It's not the one situation. See, this is like you saying, that's like saying we go through a relationship and don't have an argument or a disagreement. We're going to have disagreements. How do we handle those situations is key to a relationship. So what I mean is
agree.
that, so what I mean is,
likelihood,
but that's what,
what's the likelihood that you've been married for a long time? What's the likelihood of that there are going to be times where you're going to disagree with your spouse
a lot,
and not just financially,
a lot,
other aspects, child rearing,
a lot,
a
lot. I agree. It happens all the time.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is, what is the problem if y'all have a plan or a setup where everything is taken care of, and I don't want to have. I'm a grown person, and I don't want to have the answer to you, or you should have the answer to me.
But we do.
You do.
We do.
And we're taking care of everything, including savings.
Okay, so let me say this then. Let me say this then. I'll give you a scenario because this is where I'm going to tell you I don't agree. So this is what I'm saying. In a relationship, when you with that person, you do have to answer to each other regardless. I know you want to make it to where you don't, but you do. Every man has had to answer to his woman. If it's 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and the sun is coming up and he's outside, he's nervous as fuck coming home. Or why? Because he got to answer to that woman when he walks through the door. Does not matter how much money he makes. Doesn't matter. He makes all the money. When he walks through that door, he gonna have to answer to where the fuck he been. So what I'm saying to you is, in your relationship, you are not going to get around having to ask for permission to having to answer to someone. It's just part of the relationship. If you don't want to do that, stay single.
But that's a bigger realm. I'm talking about if you can have a setup where you take care, both of y'all are taking care of y'all household, and you work hard and she work hard, and she don't want to have to answer if she wants to go get her toes done and say, I'm gonna tell you if I go in here and go get my toes done. No.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
I don't care what nobody say. Women and men, even if you are one, you still are adults, and you don't want to have to answer to somebody for every
what I'm saying to
thing.
you, this is what I'm saying to you. I have no problems with my lady getting her nails done. And with her own money or my money, all day, every day. Until we are now looking at a financial burden because you want it. That's when it's going to become a problem. I could care less. You ain't got to ask me for shit if it's there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me give you this scenario. Let me give you this scenario. Okay. So you're putting all your money in one is joint. Everything goes in this one pot.
Okay.
Right? Now, you've decided, y'all mutually decided that, you know what? I think we should buy a slingshot. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So if we put this amount of money into our account for this period of time, we should be able to save up enough money to get this slingshot. Cool. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
So in February, though, she wants to take some of that money and go get her toes done, and then the month later, she wants to go brunching with her girls, so she don't put as much as she said she was going to put in there for that slingshot. And then you start to see a trend. Is it going to damage you that is it going to damage you that it's going to take a whole lot longer for you to get that slingshot? No. But will it agitate you? Will it annoy you, especially if you're sticking and you're disciplined and you're sticking strictly to what you guys have decided to do? Because what could easily happen, and men say this a lot with women, women change their mind, and now all of a sudden that slingshot ain't that important to her, but it's still important to you.
So, but I guess
I'm saying to you is, what I'm saying to you is, it alleviates that.
It doesn't though.
When
it doesn't, because I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't alleviate that problem. Whether you have it in your own bank account or you have it in a joint bank account, once you go, the same scenario you just gave, once you go get your nails done, you have broken the verbal contract or whatever contract that you and I put together. Doesn't matter if I see it coming out or not. You have broken the contract. So it doesn't matter if I just put like it doesn't matter I use a Visa or MasterCard to pay for them nails getting done. Once we said we was getting that slingshot and you decided to deviate from it, you are now not doing your part of the relationship. Now we have a problem. It's not because of where the money's coming from. It's the fact that you broke the contract that we agreed upon. That's it.
But it's a sense, it feels different if it's her own account and she's pulling money out of her own account to add to a joint account to cover that.
You like it, I love it. You like it, I love it.
As opposed to dipping into that joint account. All I'm gonna say is this, and this is the biggest problem with these types of conversations.
What's that?
Is everybody thinks that all relationships are monolithic.
No,
right?
I don't. I
get
get
a lot of people.
I know.
What
I don't.
I mean by that is there are certain men out here in this world that want a modern woman, a woman that has her own, she does her own thing, he does his own thing, and then they come together. Then there are some men who are more traditional, who want a stay-at-home woman, and he has to find a woman that wants to be that stay-at-home woman.
Okay.
So everything's not all. So in other words, what I'm saying to you is your way is not incorrect. It's what's best for you, and my way is not incorrect. It's what's best for me and my personality and my personality of my spouse.
Let me say this. Go ahead. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So all I'm saying is whatever your personality is, you can't sit there and be a traditional man and debating a modern woman.
Okay.
Because that modern woman wants something different than what you want.
Okay,
what
but
we have to start doing is we have to start looking for, when we say looking for our person, we have to find somebody that matches our own belief.
Yes, right.
In how
I agree. Yes, you do. I'll give you an example of what I mean, and then we can we'll go move on from it. I'll tell you this. The reason why I always push back on what you're saying, I agree. Black folks humans are not a monolith, period. We're not going to make it about race. Humans are not a monolith at all. What I'm saying to you is that I think about time the same way. It's not enough of it. So when I live in a world, class example, same guy who I just told you about 18, 19 years ago, I was out of work. Right after that, I'm going to tell you the outcome of that. The next job I got on was the very longest job I ever was on working for someone else. It was 6 years right after that, right? Because my daughter hurt my feelings so fucking bad, I knew my black ass had to go to work. So that changed everything for me. So for the next 6 years, I'm going to tell you something she told me recently. For the next 6 years. Now remember, before I went to work, we were playing together. I was cooking together. This was my little road dog, right? This is what it is, right? To this day, she's my little road dog. So fast forward to today. She tells me during that stretch of time, I basically was the guy who was just talking to her mama when he came in the house. I thought that I was being this great dad. She told me, I honestly didn't know much about you. And when you come in, I knew you was my dad, but I didn't know much about you. It really didn't feel connected to you. She said this damn near verbatim to me. And the reason was because I was always gone. I was always at work. I came home every day. I came home every night. I went to work in the morning. I came home every night. My own daughter said, I did not feel that I knew you. So I don't understand how you think that you're going to have the same amount of time where the parent normally would be there with the child, but they're now gone every day. How that they're going to get the exact same outcome? I don't think you can. That's just all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't be productive.
How can you not, if the child is off at school while
They're
you're
not
at
out.
work,
No.
and you all come home and be a family?
I'll give you an example. I'll tell you an example of that. So now the school system, and I'll lead you in there. My school system, and I have 3 daughters. My last 2 are raised hands-on. You know this. My last 2, I homeschooled them from the 1st grade for one and the 5th grade of the other one. Both of them in regular school were in talented and gifted classes, meaning that they were in advanced classes. Neither one of them knew shit. So what I did is I took them both out because they wasn't learning anything. In the process, both of them graduated high school early. Both of them were able to go off to institution where they didn't have to pay for going out at the gate. I couldn't have done that if me and her mother both were at work all the time. We wouldn't have been able to produce that. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that they still wouldn't have been productive, but what I'm saying is that it is easier road when your parent is there. There is at least one parent that can basically be there for the child, especially in those first 5 years. So when they are off at daycare, they're going to pick up the habits from the kids at daycare. They're going to pick up the habits from the people at the place. And it may not be what I want from my child. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you can't be productive and both parents working, because really we have no other option now, because you need to have 2 parents working. But what I'm saying is that's still, to me, in my opinion, not the best road for the child. That's it.
Well, of course, it would be the best if
That's all that I'm saying.
If one parent could be home with the child, especially if you're talking from 0 to 5.
That's all that I'm saying. That's all
and
I'm
then
saying.
too, even in your scenario, one of the parents. So what you're saying is you were the parent that stayed home and homeschooled your children.
No, well, it actually became a collective thing. We both had to end up doing it. We both did. We ended up working for
ourselves. Y'all were working, right?
Yeah,
so both y'all were working,
but
both of y'all were tag teaming.
Luckily,
so it was possible.
No, luckily enough for my scenario, luckily enough, both of us had the option to be able to make money from home when we were there. So that's the only reason why. I do not know what would have happened otherwise. Other than I'm saying, I'm not trying to get pushback on people working. This is not about women having jobs or not having jobs. This is about, for me, it is a collective of how do we have the best outcome for a marriage and parenting. And I'm just sorry, I don't think when we weigh whether you want to get your nails done versus our child being a productive adult, I don't think they weigh off based upon you going to work because I want to be able to have.
Now,
I want to ask you for money.
I was not comparing that.
I know you're not, but what I'm saying is, with the whole narrative of that, I don't know why. If you have a husband who is treating you like his child with his money, you're right, get your own fucking paper. But if you have a normal person who loves you and doesn't want to see you not get what you're supposed to get, they're not going to get. I wouldn't give my woman pushback if it's not affecting us, if it's something she wants and desires. I wouldn't do that. It's not for me to do that.
Which is good, which is cool. But what I'm saying to you is my whole point overall in this about this conversation is if I feel I am, and I'm going to get personal, right?
Okay.
So when I had my child, and I have health conditions, and I found it extremely difficult to work, take care of a baby, and deal with my health conditions all at once.
Makes a lot of sense. I know
what
that.
I ended up doing,
I said, go ahead. That makes a lot of sense. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So what I ended up doing was going
I'm an
on
active
disability.
listener.
Okay. I went on disability and became a stay-at-home mom because I needed to take care of my health, and I also wanted to be able to be the best mother I could be. And fortunately, you know, with the disability and my husband working, we were able to make it work. And I know that there are a lot of women out there who wish they could be at home. But let me say this. My child now is 8 years old. Okay? And I've never missed a thing. Not only did I not miss a thing, but I was doing stuff that most moms couldn't do because I had the availability.
Right.
Now let
agree.
me tell you where my head is at. Let me tell you where my head is at. In the midst of all of that, I have lost who I am as an individual. Okay? I have lost who I am as Lovey, as a woman. I am a wife and I am a mother, but I have lost me. And because of that, that causes me to, at times, suffer from, you know, levels of depression.
Right.
Because there's a part of me that wants to get back to me. And in order for me to do that, I want to find something outside of this household that is solely for me. And I know when I do that, I'm going to be a better mom because I'm going to be a whole person and a happier mom. And I'm not going to be so down and so frustrated all the time and so this.
Okay,
and so
question.
That. And my daughter, and I was able to get my daughter off to an amazing start. And when I do get back out there, which is my intention for 2025,
okay,
I know I'm not going to be able to be and do everything that I was normally doing, but I still feel like I'm going to be a better parent overall because I need to be a whole person first before I can
here's the
be a
issue.
good mom or wife.
Here's the issue, though. And here's going to be the issue that we're going to have here. See, when you're like, especially for the viewing audience and when they catch it, the viewing audience is going to, because it's going to split. You're going to have some that's going to, that resonated with people, male and female. It's going to resonate with what you just said. But then there's going to be the other half, and I'm going to tell you because I've seen this before. The other half is going to say this. So what did you say in that situation that made it sound like, what is in that, was that has to do with your marriage or your parent, that you lost yourself? They're going to say, why did you allow yourself to get lost in there? And what does that have to do with the income?
Well, I allowed myself to get lost in there because there was no other space for me to do anything for me.
What do you
See
mean?
what I'm saying?
No, I don't. So what do you mean?
In other words, I gave myself over as a wife and a mother because that was my job. That was my duty.
Okay.
And that is, and so when I say I lost me, I haven't. When you some people like their jobs, some people don't. Some people like their careers, some people don't.
Right.
What the job that I had, I didn't like. I wasn't. It wasn't a career like, oh, this is what I've always dreamed of.
But it was a job.
But I had friends. I had people that I would see outside of my family that knew me as just me, not
why'd
as
you
mom,
stop?
not
So why'd you stop?
as wife, as me.
So why'd you stop?
And I felt as an individual, so I lost my individuality. Being
but
in
I'm gonna
the situation that I was in.
But I'm gonna tell you, this gonna make it sound like you're blaming your wife, your husband, and your child for that, in which you shouldn't.
No, I'm blaming. I'm not. It's not a blame. There's no blame for anybody because nobody did anything wrong.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
can't blame somebody for
That
doing
would be on
something
us.
wrong. What I'm saying is the situation that I found myself in. I lost myself in, and now I'm going to do something about it.
I agree,
I'm not
but what does
blaming-
what does that have to do with the finances? Because everything you said, I totally agree. Now, did your husband, or were you saying at the same time your husband told you you can't have no friends, you can't talk to anybody outside of me?
This isn't. No, this isn't about. Wait a minute. Did he say if I could have any friends?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You said that you lost, and I get this. So this is what I'm saying. So let me slow it down. You said that you lost.
No. I think I know what you're saying.
Okay,
No,
all right.
he didn't say that. But what happens is, and you would, unless you're a mom or a stay-at-home parent, you won't get this. And it's like you feel like everything else falls upon you. You got to keep everything going. This is your job. This is what you need to take care of.
Gotcha.
And you tend to lose yourself.
Can I say something to you?
asked the
Can I say something to
question,
you?
How does this play into finances? It
Okay,
doesn't play into finances. The overall conversation was about developing a healthy household, a healthy marriage, and healthy children.
Right.
And what I'm saying to you is sometimes, depending on who the person is, that situation can actually hinder the household because if that person is drowning in that situation and needs more, then that could be more of a detriment than an asset.
So let's say this. Let me say this because I totally agree. And I'll say to myself, in a relationship, I've struggled with depression before. I've struggled with, I'm not getting what I need out of this. And I totally understand what you're coming from. I think, though, what I'm saying, though, and I think we're basically in two different spots right now in this conversation. I guess for me, what you're saying is that people lose themselves every day. I said this too. When I became an empty nester, I didn't know who the fuck I was. I was like, shit, what do I do? Because I'm used to going to the park and doing shit with the kids.
Yeah, people who retire from their job.
I get it. You don't know where to go.
The huge change you're going to, and that you have to adjust to. You're going to go through.
Yes, but let me say this.
Period.
But what I guess what I'm saying to you is this. But because we started this talking about relationships and everything, and I'm looking in a relationship, but still, if like class example, I've lost myself in my relationship before, and if I've done that, I had to understand it was me. I said this recently to somebody I was talking to about it in a relationship before. Everybody has had. I had the personality type, especially in my 20s. Is this? I have all these things that I want and desire of a relationship, but I'm not man enough to tell the woman I'm with what I'm going through and what I need. So what I end up doing a lot of times is projecting out what I wanted them to give back to me in hopes that that person would get it non-verbally and give it back to me. And then all that I did was I built up resentment, and I built up more resentment. I built more resentment because I wasn't getting it. And then it dawned on me when I got older. It was my job all the time to say what I need and say it with my full fucking chest, and then have the person I'm with either do it or not do it. But I can't blame them because they didn't do it because I didn't tell them enough. So what I'm saying is when you're talking
you missed.
But let me get to the end. Maybe I'll cover it if I get to the end. Maybe if I get to the end, I may cover it. So at the end, what I'm saying is I understand when you're saying you're losing yourself, you need something outside of your marriage. I totally understand that. Men sometimes will get a motorcycle and ride with his friends. Sometimes a woman will get with her friends and then they'll go knitting and stuff. Not telling you should not have you should always be an individual, even when you're in a group. But what I'm saying is when you have a child, the child kind of trumps your fucking life. First and foremost, so if they have to be prioritized even over you, at least. So what I'm saying is at the end of the day, if you're feeling that way, you agree. Is your spouse understanding that and they supporting you and you doing what you need? If they're not doing it, that's a bad spouse. That's not marriage. If that's what I'm saying.
You said that I'm struggling because of my relationship. I never said that. I'm struggling in the role in this family that I created.
But how does that? We equated that due to you was talking about having something on your own, and that's why a lot of people want to go get their own money because they don't want to be told what to do. I'm saying in that.
No, I didn't know. I didn't say that. It had nothing to do with money. What I said is I created the role that nobody told me this is what you're going to do now. I told myself. So I'm not blaming. Has nothing to do with my relationship, and it doesn't have to do with my parenting. It has to do with the fact of what I decided was going to be my role as a stay-at-home mom. And within the role that I created for myself, I realized I started to lose myself.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying to you is not that I'm a mother or a wife or a combination of both. It's what I decided what was in my head is what I wanted to do. And what I found is the role that I created for myself. Because if I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm the boss, right?
Self-accountability. So I got what you're saying. I realized
that this career is not fulfilling based on its own. It's two-parter. It's my responsibility, and it's also what you want to be and you want to do. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a wife.
Right,
and those will always take priority.
So answer
to say that if I add another caveat to my life that's solely for me, that I'm not going to now prioritize being a wife and a mom. That's not an automatic.
Okay, I'm going to stay right where I was at because mine was solely based upon. I thought, and I'm going to tell you, I thought we was having a conversation on why, because you kept pushing back on the part of women working and thinking I had an issue with women working. It's not that. So when you're saying everything that you say, I totally agree. You cannot lose yourself to the point where you don't have anything for yourself. I'm not saying none of that. My whole time going down this path with you was about the fact of the working part. I just don't think that having both parents gone from days for hours at a time every day is productive for the child. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it to be so. But outside of that, I agree with you.
It's the same reason why I personally feel like you should have your joint account for your household and your individual account for yourself is because you cannot engulf, not whether it's the father or the mother, whether it's stay-home dad or stay-home mom. You cannot just engulf yourself within your family because I promise you will lose yourself. It's okay if that child goes and hangs out with some kids and play on the playground
Look,
for a couple of hours.
Look, I
and
totally.
then you come home and you parent
This
your
is
child.
this is what I'm saying.
don't
This is what I'm
see it
saying.
being
This is what I'm saying. And I'm not disagreeing with a child having extracurriculars, because I would always say this for homeschooling. To anyone who's thinking about homeschooling kids and never done it, if you do not give them extracurriculars, you're going to still damage them. So I will say that. I know this to be true. I'm not arguing with any of that. I totally agree with everything you just said. My only assessment is this. There's only 24 hours in a day. And what I'm saying is, for me, and this is just for me, this is, you like it, I love it. You move it the way you want to do it. But for me, I know that, classic example, I tell you all the time, I'm doing a genealogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing the genealogy, I have not touched it in 3 weeks. I haven't touched it because I have no time. This is very important to me. This is something that needs to get done, and I actually have a time limit to do it in there. I'll talk to you about that later. But I have a time limit to do it in, but there just isn't enough time because there's so much needs to be done. What I've learned, when you're working all the time, there isn't time. That is why people always talk about their work-life balance is off, because they spend so much time working. And it's not because they want to. It is because, classic example, since 2020, everything has gone up but the pay. So now everybody's working harder just to survive. Of course the children are going to suffer because there's not enough time. It's only about time. When a parent and when two parents, mama and the father, both have to work, they're going to do, and they both give a fuck about their child. Of course, I expect them to do everything that they can in their power to make the best, well-adjusted child that they can. What I'm saying again, there's two roads going to a destination. One has got a clear path, one is not. I'm not saying you still can't get there, but I'm saying that it's better to put them on the clear path if that's an option.
And all I'm saying is that the conversation we're having is too many variables. You keep saying working all the time. There are people who have jobs that they go drop their kids off at school, and they go to work, and they come pick their kids up after school, and they have,
that was me. That was me.
Working all day. Then you have.
I'll give you. I'll give you an example.
Like,
so you telling me? Go ahead, because I did that. I did that path all day long. I've done it 1,000,000 times, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Then you have people who are military that are based in other areas, and they go a whole year and don't see their own children.
Not parenting. They're not parenting.
There are too many variables.
They're not parenting.
So I agree. But guess what? There's still got to be somebody to do the job.
I agree.
So what I'm saying to
you're talking about
you won't let me get my foot out.
My bad.
So what I'm saying to you is it has to fit. It has to fit everybody's individual specific situation.
We agree.
And what I'm saying to you is I'm not disagreeing that if it's possible for a parent to be at home with the child, that the child cannot benefit from it. I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Okay.
What I'm disagreeing with you on is to have a broad blanket statement to say, if you work, your child's going to automatically suffer.
I said this, and so this is why I said, and we'll agree to disagree. I said this. What you just said to me, you said, no, we're not a monolith. I agree. That's why I say there's multiple paths to get to somewhere where you're going. But what I'm saying to you also at the exact same time is that what you're saying to me is that you feel that a parent who isn't there on a day-to-day basis all day, that has it readily available, it can be just as well adjusted as a child that basically sees their parent maybe 2-3 hours out of the day. I get it. That's your opinion when it comes to it.
2 or 3 hours. See, that's again.
Because I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because I'm gonna
scenario.
But I'm gonna give.
What
Can
you're
I?
saying.
Well, can I give you the scenario? But I'm gonna tell
you
you why.
At 4:00.
Let me tell you.
Let me more than 2-3 hours.
Let me say this to you then. You know, like I know, like when it comes to this, most people. Classic example, and this is just mine, and you can say 8 hours in a day. You're going to work 9 because you're going to either get a 30 to an hour lunch break. So let's go and say 9 hours away from the day. I'm not even going to break down my day. I'll just take 24 fucking hours. If you're getting 6 to 9 hours of sleep, and then you taking 8 to 9 hours to work and get back and forth, because I'm talking about travel time. So now we're talking about 18. Okay, yeah, we're talking about 18 hours of your day is gone. So now we have 6 hours left. I have not came home and spent any time with my wife. I haven't spent any time with my husband. Haven't spent any time with my child. I have to split all three amongst us. I have to cook dinner now because that has to get done. I have to make sure the grass is cut during that time because that has to be done. The car has to be maintenance during that time. We're running out of time. But if someone is there on a day-to-day basis that can do a lot of this stuff the way it ain't got to be done, we have more time. That's just all that I'm saying.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you want to know why? Because that parent that's home, that's taking on everything other than the income, is dead dog tired.
So just remember this. Just remember
They
this.
don't have nothing to give for themselves.
But just remember this. The same way that, just say it's the man, because we're going to make it the man is the one that's going to work. Let's just take the man going to work.
The spouse that's working is unhappy because the spouse at home that's doing everything.
No. This is what's happening. See, you're talking.
The children unhappy because they sense the parents are unhappy.
Listen to what you're saying. So what you're telling me is this: the parent at home who's doing your job is at home. Yes, the same way the husband or the wife, whoever's making the money, has to get up and go fight traffic, has to go through anger for having to do that, has to sit in a desk for 9 to 10 hours a day, has to take another hour or two in traffic to get home. They're dog fucking tired just as much as you are. But what I'm trying to get you to understand.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
What are you?
Did you even hear your own scenario?
So you trying to tell me the person that goes? I got a question. I have a question. I have a question for you.
In traffic, they went and sat on their at their
no.
desk.
You're telling me with a woman
with their coworkers.
Okay,
so in between taking emails, then they come home and they sit while the spouse that's at home is taking on everything else.
You just told you Levy, you listening? Hear me? Come here. You just told me what a lot of women jobs are. What about the guy who don't have the job? He's sitting on his ass doing emails all day because most men don't have jobs like that.
But you know what? We go back to what I just originally said. We can't say one way is right or wrong.
But that's what. But you just listen. No. But you just listen. No. You just told me the person going to work don't work as hard as the person at home. You didn't tell me with nuances. You said miss me with that.
I used the scenario you gave. You gave the scenario. I gotta go fight traffic, then I gotta go sit at my desk.
Okay, so let's do this. I'll use my example then. Let me use myself since I use my example. I did that. The last job that I had on a 9 to 5 was like this. I lived 19 miles in Atlanta away from my job. 19 miles. I got up at 5:45 in the morning. We got the kids dressed for work. I had to get in the car. From 5:45 to 8 o'clock, I had to drop 2 kids off at school, fight traffic like a motherfucker. You do not know what traffic is unless you live here. And when you do, you get in there, I've road raged, I'm pissed off. Now I have to sit from 8 to 4:30 at this desk. I have to deal with white supremacy and everything else in this workplace every day because I'm working a white collar job. You've had people stress themselves out so bad they have went mentally ill from being in corporate America. Did that. Got my ass out of there. Then I had at 4:30 had to go back, pick up one from one school, pick up the other from the other school, and battle 2 hours in traffic back. I was going from 5:45 that morning. I got home 6:45 to 7 o'clock at night. When I got home, luckily enough, my woman at the time had cooked dinner at the time. She didn't have to come cook it with me. So it was already done. When I got to go take a bath, came back down, was able to do that. But then I got to spend time with the kids, help with the homework, the whole nine. I was bone fucking tired every day. When the weekends.
You just hear the scenario you gave, though. Now, stop. I want you to listen.
That's a normal life for people that work.
I want you to listen, though. The scenario you just gave is the scenario that works. You guys got the kids dressed. You went and picked the kids up while your wife was home cooking.
And you know what she told me? No. And you know what she? No.
I can't get my point. You keep cutting me off. What I'm saying to you is the scenario I'm talking about is you get up and you get yourself dressed and you go off to your job while she's back getting the kids dressed, getting them to school, fighting the same traffic you're fighting, coming back.
No, she wasn't with me. No. She's not with me.
You gotta let me get it.
I thought are you saying she's with me? I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
I'm asking a question. Do you saying she's with me?
But I was in the middle of a thought.
I know. I'm asking you. I don't understand what you're saying. Are you asking me she's in the car with me all this time?
No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Keep
your
going.
scenario that you gave.
Keep going.
You said 5 a.m. Right. We got the kids dressed.
Mm-hmm.
I fought traffic to get to work. I came and picked the kids up, got back home. She was cooking. You picked the kids up. She's cooking. and y'all helping the kids with the homework. That is what the freak I'm talking about, is a tag team that can be successful, where two people can work, two people tag team with the kids, two people tag team making sure the house is straight.
I
That
think
to
okay.
me is going to be, and y'all still have y'all individual lives outside of
Okay.
the household. But
Okay.
but the scenario you're talking about
Mhm.
isn't the scenario you gave. The scenario you're talking about is you get up and you get yourself dressed, you go to your job and you go sit at your desk, and then you're fighting traffic. But again, while you're doing all that, she's also back at home getting the kids dressed by herself. She's getting the kids to school, fighting the same traffic. She got to come home, and in the couple of hours the kids at school, she got to cook, clean, make sure, take on the mental load of everything that needs to be done, and then you drive home, and then your dinner's ready, and then you go chill while she helps the kids with the homework.
So no.
That is the scenario that a stay-at-home mom deals with.
This is what. Now let's take the stay-at-home mom's job, because I just told you about a stay-at-home mom at the time. Stay-at-home mom. You know what she would told me after me and the kids got in the car at 6 o'clock on the 6:15 on the way to school and to work. What she did at 6:15? Did she tell you what she did? She know what she did? She said, I didn't go. I went back to bed and got up at 9. You want to know why she did that? Because she could. Because the kids are gone and the husband's gone.
That means she wasn't a stay-at-home.
She is a stay-at-home mom. She is a stay-at-home mom. I'm gonna tell you. Hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. Now you gotta let me do that. You gotta let me say it now.
Doing that, so she's sleeping through the night. She get the kids off of school, and then she's sleeping during the day.
She could stay to 9
And
because
then you're coming home and doing the homework and all that. Is that what you're saying?
No. See, I ain't
that
said
don't
none of
work
that.
either.
No, love you, you're not listening. I said none of those things. This is what you're saying. Now you're projecting on me. I said none of that. What you just said. What I'm saying to
I
you
know
is,
that was a question.
okay, what I'm saying to you is this. When you have two people, see, this is what they're trying to say. You're coming from the projected perspective, of the person from home. So you know about what goes on at the house, about the stuff that you have to clean and go through. What you don't know yourself as a man is that how many times have you had to take care of an entire family by yourself? Talking about husband and children by yourself. Do you know the responsibility of having to do that? Do you know the stress that comes along with that? If you don't know the stress of that, you can't talk about how they have it easy, but you have it hard. What I'm saying to both people, let me get my point out. I have to get my point out. I know, but I
never said.
You said that the person at home has it harder than the person going to work because they ain't doing as much.
Exactly.
So let me say
that they had. Wait, Lamar. I did not say that the person going to work had it easy. I said the person staying at home has it harder. That's two different things.
Okay, so let me say it to you, the way you put it in. See, what you're doing is if I'm talking to a person who's now the person going to work, they're going to say it's harder for them. It's all in your perception of things when it comes to it. See, stress isn't always mental stress, physical stress, emotional stress, time. All of this, you cannot tell me one trumps the other one. See, what you're telling me is a lot of physical things and emotional things that the mother has to do on a day-to-day basis. So does the husband. He has just his mental shit to go through. He has a whole family that he's responsible for, that he has to go out into the real world and have to navigate how to keep this going. Because if he loses his money, most of the time he loses his wife and his child in process. That's stressing his own self. So let me finish my statement. Let me finish my statement, and then I promise I'll give it to you. My whole statement is this.
I just want to make one more statement after that. But go ahead.
My whole statement is this. Mine is I do not think the woman or the man has it easier. I think there is a complete balance when it's done the way that I'm talking about. If the mom is at home, she is stressed out. She going to have some shit that she going to have to deal with. Yes. But guess what else she ain't got to deal with now? Working. But same like with the guy. He is stressed out having to deal with the shit he has to deal with at work all day. But guess what he ain't got to deal with when he get home? The house shit. That's balanced to me. And I think that's the way.
That is not balanced. That is not balanced.
Well, I digress. There's no way we're going to see eye to eye on that one.
I have worked a job and I have been a stay-at-home mom. I can say from both perspectives. Because guess what?
I've done both too.
When I got up in the morning and I went and I clocked in at 9 and clocked out at 5, before husband, before wife, I'm done. I can do and chill and do whatever I want to do. When you are responsible for other human beings, how do they have clothes? Do they have food? Are they fed? Are they doing the things they're supposed to do? and all of this other stuff. That is legit. I can't say 24/7 because you get 8 hours of sleep, but that's a 20-hour job. So no, it's not the same. It's absolutely not the same. And then you get to the weekend, and then when do the stay-at-home moms get the vacations?
Okay,
that
so
the
this is
husbands get when they can go take 2 weeks off of work. They not sitting there. They chilling. They doing this.
Okay,
so they
see,
doing
this is
that.
what I'm gonna tell you.
They get vacation. Stay-at-home moms don't get vacation.
Pause. Let me say
this
this to you. Let me say this to you. See, now what you dove into, and I know you ain't got time because I know you're ready to run, but I'm gonna tell you what you just did. What you're doing right now is you're projecting a bad relationship onto traditional relationships. A bad relationship, traditional does not mean a man does nothing at home. We have things to do at home. We have stuff around the house that you have to do at home all the time. You just have things that women do. We have their called traditional roles that people normally play. What I'm saying to you in the process of all of this is this. I don't think one trumps the other. I don't think that the woman, what she goes through, if she's the one at home, is good and any harder than what he has to go through. There's differences when it comes to the stress. There's different stresses, but they're equal. I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I'm going to agree with you. I am looking through the lens of a unhealthy situation, right? But I'm also going to disagree with you because the majority, and I hear it from other women. Mm-hmm. I've heard it from other moms. Mm-hmm. I've even heard it from single women who are just don't even have children, solely in relationships. Mm-hmm. That type of relationship that you're talking about, where the man goes and works and then he comes home and he helps the wife and does what he's supposed to do at home. If that's the case, then that's the scenario I'm talking about. This is the scenario you gave when you were talking about helping with the homework and you picking the kids up while she cooks. That is the correct way to do it. But for the most part, for the majority, and this is just my opinion, and I bet you it's the opinion of most women, that's not how it goes down in real life. Most men think once they get their job, and especially if the woman is not bringing in any income, that's all they have to do. Can I say this?
They don't do what they're supposed to be doing. Now, if they did, it'd be a totally different situation.
This is what I'm going to say in our dead conversation. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I say. This is my last point to him. The reason why I don't agree with you and I disagree with that altogether, it is because too many women nowadays are fighting to just be stay-at-home mamas. If it was so hard, then my experience in this world, nobody's fighting to have a harder existence. Most people are fighting to have a better existence. And since women are fighting to be at home, to be stay-at-home mothers, and not have to go 50-50 with men, that tells me, at least in their minds, that it's easier than what they're doing now.
I see it differently. I don't see people. I'm one who is a stay-at-home mom who's fighting to
you don't see, you're the statistical anomaly, ma'am. You're the anomaly.
What I find that most women are doing this day and age, they're not looking to be stay-at-home moms. They're looking to be single women out here, not even considering marriage, because they don't want the servitude that is what
those women,
society is deemed.
Those women,
women need to be doing.
Those women you're talking about, the same women that don't want to be married, the same women that don't want children, the same women that just want to be by themselves. Hey, let them be out there.
That is rising. That is rising.
Well, I'm going to tell you just like this. When you have that is perfectly fine. You like it, I love it. Don't your ass complain when you're out here lonely. Because I hear the same thing on the opposite side. People who chose that life, they get into their 40s and 50s, now they mad because they by themselves. And now they choosing niggas that they don't even want to be with because they just want a body there. So what I'm saying to people is, I go by the 80-20. Let me say my point.
Women in their 40s and 50s, they want a good group of girlfriends with passports.
Can I tell you something? Let me tell you something I know to be.
They ain't gonna be lonely.
Let me tell you something I know to be true. I know this to be true. And matter of fact, my job, I come in contact with women all day long. You'll be surprised at how many of these women ain't happy. You're right, they're not happy. But they think they out here and singing, and then all of them are trying to get back into relationships. I said this one day on the episode, and it's the guy that is true. You ever notice that, like, give me 3 movies, and I promise to let you go out there. Do you give me 3, white, black, doesn't matter. What's 3 romance movies that you love, or 2? Give me one that's popping in your head.
Romance movies?
Yeah, just one that you love. Just something you love.
Okay. I'll give you The Notebook.
Okay.
I'll give you Love Jones,
Okay.
and I can't think of a third one.
Okay. Now I know Love Jones. I don't know much about The Notebook, but let me ask you: in The Notebook, did somebody cheat? Was somebody cheating in The Notebook?
No.
Nobody
you
was
want me to
cheating.
tell you what The Notebook was about?
You give me a quick synopsis. Nobody cheated in there, so nobody had a man or woman.
Basically, there was an older man who was telling a story to an elderly woman,
Mm-hmm.
and he was telling this love story. And at the very end, you realize he was telling his wife, who was living in a nursing facility, who had Alzheimer's. He was literally telling their love story and how they became about, and trying to help her remember who she was.
Okay, because the reason why I brought that up is because I saw this post one day, and the brother broke down a whole bunch of movies I heard of, and I totally agree with it. A large portion of times when it comes to you films, like romantic films, are basically based upon what they either trying to push women to either one or what a woman desires. And a lot of times I see a lot of cheating in a lot of these movies, and I would break down the list, but I don't have time. But I only say this to say this. I understand your points and where you're coming from. I understand that none of this is a monolith, and I understand that what we're talking about can be taken any way depending on who you're talking to. But what I try to do when I have these conversations, I try to take it from a point of view of where it's a healthy environment. A healthy environment is what we all should be striving to do. I don't want to talk about your toxicity, not you, I'm talking about per se, just talking about in general. When people are talking in toxicity, that is not healthy for any of us. What we're doing is this is no different than the black guy saying black bitches ain't shit. He just making a blanket statement because he ain't dealt with no a decent woman. Same way the black woman will say that nigga ain't worth a damn. She just ain't dealt with one worth a damn. But if you talk to people who are dealing with people who are doing it, or at least trying to do it the right way, a lot of these issues get absolved because I don't live in this space. I would never try to dominate someone I was with just because I'm the one making the finances. And I would never be the one to think that I should be the one to take on the sole responsibility of everything. It's not fair, and that's not a relationship. I only want to be in a relationship that's a true relationship. And I think that's what we should be striving for.
I agree with that 100%. And I want to leave on a positive note, too.
Go ahead.
I want to say this to the listeners.
Please give them something, because they ain't going to like what you said.
If a two-parent working household, if that's what works for y'all, do it. If you desire a stay-at-home parent, whether it's man or woman, and then that's what fits your personality, which you desire, do it. What I want to say is to the listeners is that neither one of us are wrong and neither one of us are right. We're telling each other what we feel like our perspective is for ourselves. And you got to figure out, and please, especially to the young viewers who are listening,
yes,
when you go and you're in the dating process, stop asking about what kind of car you drive.
Oh, I agree.
All that crap. You need to ask, how do you feel about child rearing? How do you handle finances? Pay attention to see if you are like-minded, because that is what's going to be the foundation of your marriage.
There you have it.
Not what kind of car he drives, and not if he go get your nails done or take you to Cheesecake Factory. That's bull.
There you have it. I totally agree.
Out if you know you want to be a stay-at-home mom, you better ask that man, how do you feel about me if we were to have children, me being a stay-at-home mom? Gotcha. If there's something that's strong that you feel strongly about, and he tell you, nah, I need help out here, then move on to the next guy. That's all I'm saying. Everybody got to figure out what fits them individually.
I'll say this, and there you have it, people. I totally agree. I do not disagree with any of that right there. We'll leave it right there. You did give me my final thought that I'm going to do after I get you off the phone, but I definitely agree. with that statement. No, that's a true statement. I totally agree. I said the same. I was watching Pop the Balloon the other day, and I made a similar
it's
statement.
Frustrating.
Yeah, I made a similar statement. It's just the line of questioning that young people do for each other. They have no idea what they're doing when it comes to dating, but none of us did at the time.
I've seen good-looking men,
Oh, they just
good-looking women who are who are successful, and they talking about
they pop
I
over
don't like
shoes.
your bell bottom.
Yeah, I've seen it. Well, you know what it is, and I'll be honest what it is, and I have a final thought, but I'll say this to you. I think what it is that it stopped. Our value system is placed upon what Europeans want us to do. And the reason why I say European is because we live basically in a European nation. So remember in the 90s when we were in high school and things like that, if a guy just had a car, it would have been good enough, correct? Didn't matter if the bitch had a grill or he had a car, he was doing well, right?
Yeah,
well,
but you didn't have to age me.
Hell, they know.
In the 90s.
Anyways, whatever. Listen. But I made this statement recently that everything got fucked up for us when the car, just any old car wasn't good enough. You had to have a luxury car. And when going to any date, when a guy took you out on a date, that was special in high school, but it had to become a certain place. When going to the mall, getting Tommy Hilfiger wasn't good enough anymore, and it had to be Gucci and Fenty and Prada, that's where we lost out. Because now we have people with unrealistic standards in relationships, and you're like a 25-year-old young lady, why are you trying to get a 25-year-old man to buy your Gucci belt? He can't afford that. It just is what it is.
Our 27-year-old niece was having this conversation with our sister, and she was like, y'all just don't get it. Y'all didn't have to worry about coming out and buying Gucci and Versace and Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Like, that's now, if you don't have it, something's wrong with you. The most we had to deal with is if you ain't got no Nikes.
Yeah, because I told you, that is what's wrong with the world. Our value systems is wrapped up in what Europeans want us to have, and that's what's killing us. And like I say, the thing that I wanted to say, and I'll say a part of it now, the one thing about it that I think we need to get back to, and I use Pop the Balloons as an example, we have to get back to a space to where you're genuinely getting to just know someone first and then figuring out whether all this other stuff. There's no need to ask me how well did I parent my child. There's no need to ask me what my religious beliefs are. There's no need to ask me if we like to take trips and shit like this if I'm not even gonna like the individual. People are not even taking time to even get in each other's space anymore to see if we like each other. We have to figure that out and then go from there.
If I was single and a guy wanted to take me on a Starbucks date for a first date, we get to know each other.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
That's it.
I'm trying to get to know you. I'm trying to figure out if we can make it.
Yeah, and I'm just telling people, when you're acquiring shit from a husband out of a first date, you've already lost. Because a husband takes you to a fancy restaurant, not the first fucking date. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
So, but anyways,
I agree.
I enjoyed the conversation. I'm going to tell you, ma'am, you lost this one. And I'm going to tell you lost this one, okay?
I did not.
You're lost.
I did not.
Oh, I'm going to put up a poll or something. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. I want
you to put that poll up. Okay, please.
Okay. All right, I'm going to tell you, I put it like this. If I get a lot of feedback off this, I'm going to send you the feedback so I can show you that you need to listen to me more. This is what I was going to say. Anyway. All right. I'm going to let you go. I'll talk to you later.
All right,
Pete. All right, guys. Let me get that off the screen. Let me get some up. Let me turn my music back up a little bit. Let me get Miss Lovey off the screen. Oops, I'm doing too much. Hold on. There she goes. So we got her off the screen. Guys, I'm going to take a small commercial break. And then I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to close out the show with my final thoughts. So just give me about 2 minutes. I'll be right back, guys, okay?
I tested 300 Radio to see if it lives up to the hype. Let me tell you, it's the real deal. Daily live streams, quality content, all celebrating Black American culture. Whether you're on iPhone or Android, 300 Radio keeps you connected to our community. It's more than just music, it's a movement. Join us and experience the power of 300 Radio today.
You know that feeling when you turn on the TV or radio and it's like nobody sounds like you? Yeah, it's frustrating, but things are changing. More Black voices are breaking through, telling our stories our way. It's not just about being seen, it's about being heard, and it matters. When we control the narrative, we shape how the world sees us. We're not just characters in someone else's story anymore. We're the storytellers, the hosts, the producers, and it's making waves. Places like 300 Radio are giving us the mic, letting us speak our truth. So next time you're looking for fresh content that actually gets you, give Black-led media a listen. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Hey, debate enthusiasts, get ready for a mind-blowing new series presented by 300 Radio that's about to shake up your feed. Agree to Disagree is here, and it's not your average debate show. We're diving deep into the hottest topics, bringing you passionate voices with opposing views. But here's the twist. It's all about empowering the Black American community through intellectual discourse. No holds barred, no topic off limits. From lifestyle choices to societal issues, we're tackling it all. And the best part, it's not about winning, it's about understanding. So whether you're nodding in agreement or shaking your head in disbelief, you're in for a wild ride. Tune in, speak up, and let's elevate the conversation together. Remember, if we can't...
We are back. All right, guys, I'm going to get ready to close that show. I am exhausted after that conversation with Miss Lovey. She literally exhausted me out of that one. But I tell you, I guess we get two different points of views when it comes to relationships. Just in my own personal conjecture, since it's my show and I get to finish out on my own. I disagree with her. I love her to death. I totally disagree with her viewpoints when it comes to it. I think that's what's wrong with the world. Everyone thinks from their position it is hard. Men think that their women don't understand that their job is the only hard one. See, if you're talking to a man who works on an oil rig or who's a construction worker, he's going to tell me, I'm going to need you to miss me with washing fucking dishes. It's harder than what I'm doing. He's going to say that. Now, is the corporate CEO going to tell you his life is harder? No. But one thing I know too is that I don't live in that space, and I don't think majority of the black people do. Let's take healthy black relationships. We're not CEOs majority of the time. We're not bosses most of the time. Most of the time we are working, just trying to get by. But if you are afforded the luxury and the opportunity to have your wife sit at home, I know there's no man out here that will argue with that and say he doesn't want that. Well, if a man doesn't want his woman at home, it's for two reasons. It's literally going to be for two reasons. One, they can't afford to have her sit there. Or two, he doesn't trust her to have that much idle time by herself. Either way, it still doesn't diminish the fact of both sides catch it very hard. See, I tried to explain that to her then in the middle of it. See, you can break down what you do on a day-to-day inside the house, but a man can do that as well. I tried to do it with the traveling, the mental stress of traffic, the mental stress of dealing with bosses and people trying to set you up to lose in corporate America. If you ever worked in it, you know as a black person, it's very hard to navigate that world with your sanity intact at the end. So I think it's a little bit disingenuous to think that your job is harder just because that's the one you're experiencing. And I also think it's definitely never in the child's best interest to have both parents gone at least 8-9 hours out of each day. I don't think that is. I don't think that, especially not in those first adolescent years. There's a reason why the white child who gets to stay home for the first 2, 5, 8, 9 years of the kid's life, that he's more well adjusted. I'll give you an example and then I'll get out of here. You ever seen the child, and most of the time it is probably a white child, it's going to be about 5 or 6 years old. He can articulate himself very well. He has his own personality. He knows how to do things. All this comes because a lot of times when your mother is there, she's nurturing the best version of you. Your daycare teachers don't give a shit about your future. Your daycare worker doesn't care how well adjusted you are as a human. She's there to get paid, and most of the time when you're there to get paid, you do just the bare minimum. So I just think it's dishonest, or at least to me, it's not the way I want to go about it. A child needs to be with them, and I'll be honest. Throughout the time of history, the mother has been the first nurturer and educator of each child. During that time, children have always seemed to have been well adjusted in that. And if for some reason, when the child has to go off into daycare, when they have to go off into Head Start, have to go off into school early, a lot of times they're not as well adjusted statistically. And I think that, thinking that I think what more than anything else, that conversation to me was whether about she was having a conversation with me. I just feel like it was, I don't even know what I want to say there. I was all over the place with that. But I will end it out with this. ended on this subject. She brought up the pop the balloons and not knowing how to date. And this is the last point I want to make. I was watching that last episode of Pop the Balloon the other day. The one on YouTube, not the one on Netflix. I don't watch that bullshit no more. The one on YouTube, she's right. People are not getting with each other over some of the most dumbest reasons. But I don't even blame them. Young people, including myself, I'm not that young anymore, but including myself, even though I was raised in a 2-parent household, no one taught me how to be a husband. No one taught me how to look for what I should be looking for in a wife. I would tell Black society, we kind of just get together and go through it. But I don't think a lot of relationships, we do it for a purpose or on purpose. And so it feels like in those relationships, when if you don't do it on purpose, it's doomed to fail when it comes to this. So what I wanted to say to that was this: moving forward, young people, if you're going to get with people, you need to understand some things about the person that you're going to fall in love with, your life partner, that person for you, you're not going to be able to quantify or explain. It's going to be parts about that man that you love, that you hated with every other man that you dealt with. That's because that is your person. But you're never going to find out whether that's your person or not if you're disregarding and disrespecting each other over what they got on their feet, what they wear on their hair, or even what profession that they have at the moment that you meet them. Know that true love can't be quantified. True love can't be explained. And that I think a large portion of this generation is losing out because the internet has separated us so much. And so I'll leave it there. I'll just say at the end of it all, I think being the fact that if the internet's here, we do everything online, we do everything over the phone, we do everything impersonal, not in person. It is causing us to not understand male and females from the other's perspective, and it's causing our relationships to fail right out the gate. I guess that's what I was trying to say, but hopefully I articulated that well. But okay, guys, that's today's show. We went long today. We almost at 2 hours. Shit, we didn't talk like forever today. I appreciate you guys for showing up today. I love the fact that you keep showing up. Keep supporting your brother. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, definitely do so. YouTube especially, because they're the ones that's getting the most love. Definitely hit us on 300radio.com next week. Hopefully we'll have even more shows. I'm introducing 2 new shows next week, hopefully. Supposed to be. So be on the lookout for that. I won't tell you exactly what yet, just in case it doesn't come to fruition. But until then, I'm your man, L. Scott. This is the Scott Free Morning Show. I appreciate you and catch you on the next one. Peace.
Whoa. Before you leave this podcast and go somewhere else, did you hit the notification bell? Because if you didn't, please do so now. And I'm talking to the people who've already subscribed. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that as well. Hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.